You know what's creepy? Adult responsibility, paying bills, having a full-time job, and eating coffee to stay awake. Anyways, my name is Leanne, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you about some of the spooky, creepy books that I've acquired recently. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to many of these books in the month of October. My reading is pretty jam-packed with Victober, and I'm also going to be doing a TBR for Mercedes Autumn Readathon. But we shall see. I would like to squeeze a couple of these creepy reads in. If Editing Leanne has done a good job, this is also being uploaded on Friday the 13th, so that's creepy in itself. So the first book I'm going to tell you guys about is We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. This was published in the 1960s, it is a mystery novel, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've also been following Amy from Shout Amy as she reads all of Shirley Jackson's novels, and that definitely piqued my interest in reading some of her work. This is told in the voice of an 18-year-old named Mary Catherine Blackwood. She lives with her sister and uncle on an estate in Vermont. And 6 years before the novel is set, the Blackwood family was struck by a tragedy. Some arsenic was put in a sugar bowl, I believe, and it has meant that there were only 3 survivors from the family. They have since been living in isolation from their small village. I believe they've lived fairly contently here until Cousin Charles shows up, and our protagonist can see that there is definitely some danger afoot. The next book I'm going to tell you guys about is Foxlow by Eleanor Vosserberg. So this is a chilling debut about group mentality, superstition and betrayal. And this is about a utopian commune gone wrong. And Foxlow is the name of the home in which the family of this novel, family with the capital F, live in. And they live an entirely new kind of lifestyle. They think they are a new kind of family. Their education is a new style of education. And that's all I really know about this one. It definitely sounds creepy. Do let me know down below if you've read this one and what your thoughts on it were. Next up I have Monster by C.J. Scoose, and this is a YA novel. This is set in a boarding school and it follows our 16-year-old protagonist Nash. Nash's brother disappears, and this means she is trapped in the boarding school over Christmas with the school's most notorious misfits. A blizzard rages outside, strange things begin to happen in the school, and a legend begins to circulate around the school about a mysterious big cat who roams the moors outside the school. Nothing quite like a moor to make a book creepy. The girl's matron goes missing, and it becomes clear that something even more sinister is going on. And it becomes clear that the girls will need to stick together in order to survive. I do quite enjoy a book set in a boarding school, to be honest. Next up on my list of scary books is a book that is definitely a depiction of so many people's complete worst fear. And that is The Couple Next Door by Shari LaPena. So this is about a couple who are going next door to a party, and their neighbour said they didn't want their 6-month-old child to be at the party because they couldn't stand the crying. The husband thinks that it's going to be fine, they're only next door, they've got the baby monitor, and they'll take it in turns to nip back every half hour. The last time they checked on the baby, she was sound asleep, but as they rush up the stairs in a deathly quiet house, they realise that the baby is gone. I can't even imagine the terror. I've heard a lot of really good things about this book. It sounds a little bit more serious than some of the other books in this haul. Although this next book also deals with some very serious issues, and that is The Book Collector by Alice Thompson. So this is a very short, gothic, magical realism story. It is a story of book collection, mutilation and madness. It is about a woman named Violet whose husband decides that she is mad, because back in the day that was just the kind of decision a husband could make about his wife. And she is confined to an asylum. She is also obsessed with the fairy tale books that her husband collects. As she recovers and is released, a terrifying set of events begins to unfold. I've heard a lot of really, really good things about this book. I'm not actually massively into like gothic books or magical realism books, but I've even heard positive reviews from people that share that lack of keenness. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. It is a short little read. I'm definitely getting the yellow wallpaper kind of vibes from it. The next book I'm going to talk about is History of Wolves by Emily Fridland, and this is shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize. So this is about a 14-year-old girl named Madeline who lives in the beautiful woods of northern Minnesota. There are a lot of creepy things going on in this book. We have an abandoned commune. Madeline is isolated at home and a bit of an outsider at school, and she begins to be drawn to people that she really shouldn't be drawn to. There's a lake involved, and I don't know why, but just there's something creepy about lakes. Madeline also becomes a babysitter for the family that have moved in across the lake, and she begins to delve into secrets that she doesn't quite understand. I think there are a lot of interesting and intriguing things going on in this book, and it definitely sounds like an uneasy read. The next book I'm going to talk about is Orphans of the Carnival by Carol Birch. So this is about the thrilling world of a Victorian carnival, and this is about a woman named Julia Pastrana, who is a Mexican performer. She is a singer and a dancer who goes on tours throughout 19th century Europe. This book features depiction of bodily difference, and I'm really interested to see how that's done, and I really hope it's done in a respectful way. Julia is not only famous for her talent, but also because of the hair that covers her. In many ways she is celebrated and applauded, but in other ways she is incredibly shunned. This book is also about how her life connects to Rose, who is a collector of lost treasures in modern day London. It is a story about identity, love and independence. I've got my fingers crossed for this one. I'm feeling optimistic going into it, but as we know, depictions of difference aren't always done that well. If you know any more about this novel, do leave your thoughts down below as well. Next up I have Fellside by M.R. Carey. You may know this author from their novel The Girl with All the Gifts, which I am yet to read. It is so high up the top of my TBR, but it just keeps getting pushed to the side because of readathons and things like that, but I will get to it. So anyway, Fellside is a high security prison on the edge of the Yorkshire moors. See, all you need to make a book creepy is have some moors in it. Our protagonist is a character named Jess Molson, who could be spending the rest of her life in this prison. But it is a place where the walls start to whisper, and one voice belongs to a little boy that has a message for Jess. Definitely sounds like a creepy one. And the final spooky book I'm going to be telling you about is The Graces by Laura Eve. I've heard a lot of good things about this one from Jean at Jean's Bookish Thoughts, so I'm really excited to get to this one. It is about witches. I love the idea of witches. I love learning about the history of them. I love seeing them depicted in literature. I think they are so fascinating, and I think comparing the origins of them in being a really sexist creation to how they've been reclaimed is just fascinating. I don't really know much more about this book. Everyone in this town is obsessed by the Graces, who are the witches in this novel. In particular, we follow one character named River and her obsession with the Graces, and we discover if the Graces are really what they seem, or even more dangerous than they let on. So they are all these spooky, creepy, scary books that I'm going to be telling you about. Do you like to theme your reading around what time of year it is? Do you like to read creepy books around Halloween and that kind of thing? It's something that I definitely try to do, although I'm not always successful at doing it. If that's something you're into, what creepy books are you reading this October? Let me know down below and we'll have a little chat in the comments. I hope you're having a wonderful Victober, a spooky Friday the 13th, and I hope you have a brilliant Halloween. I will talk to you guys in my next video.